mirror up to this fucked up society that we created. And yeah, it surprised me that it has taken so long for humans to kind of get back to Gwar. And now, suddenly here in the last 2 years, and especially since I started showing up on Fox News, Gwar is starting to show up in all kinds of places again. And I think that this is kind of the second coming of Gwar, and it's just going to keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I think, Gwar, whether this happens or not, I really don't give a fuck. But I think you're going to see Gwar ascend to a whole new level here in the next few years. And what's going to be beautiful about it is that all those people that just hung in there for Gwar, after they saw their best friends get axes through the head, after their girlfriend was attacked by, rabid pigs in the slam pit, they still stayed our fans for all these years, somehow escaped death. And it's going to be just so gratifying for everyone when Gwar finally does fucking take over, because I'll tell you, there was never a band that deserved it more.
Yeah, definitely. And, going back to the things that, you did have basically a very, I suppose, a very high period during the 90s. I mean, you were very, very visible, including having...
Stone Rivers, Jerry Springer, Beavis and Butthead. It was pretty big.
Oh, and I mean, the next thing that I wanted to ask you about, because, you're talking about the resurgence of Gwar, but you even had a line of comic books. I mean, what are your thoughts on that and bringing back Gwar as a comic book too? What are your thoughts on that and the culture of that, and and whether or not you can bring that back? And if you did bring that idea back, and someone were to draw that out, who would be your nemesis?
Oh shit! Well, we've got enough nemesis. This new guy, this Sawborg Destructo fuck, who I guess is a cousin of Techno Destructo. He's a real asshole. He's got this big fucking saw thing that he's been chopping my scrotum off with. As far as like cartoon characters, I'd like to fucking beat the shit out of Superman or Batman, Spider-Man, or any of those man. The operative word in why they suck is the word man. I don't need to be Oderus Man. I simply am Oderus. And I would like to see Oderus beat the shit out of some of these assholes. But generally when we want to fuck up somebody in the comic world, we just invite them onto stage with Gwar and they get the shit kicked out of them. We'd love to see Gwar comic books. We'd love to see Gwar movies. We'd love to see a Gwar video game. All this stuff. But the people that have the money to make these projects really happen are nutless fucks like Rob Zombie. They just want to make money. They don't want to take a chance. They don't want to put money into anything that's not going to be a big hit at Walmart. Even though we see over and over again these ideas that are truly cutting edge, that really have some balls, like, for instance, let's use the Grand Theft Auto franchise as an example. You do art that you just think is for the only reason you do it is just because you think it's cool and it needs to exist. That shit does get huge. And if someone had the nuts to fucking back Gwar in a comic book or a video game or a movie, it would be fucking huge. But no, people, and it's especially upsetting when you see guys who have made their career basically ripping us off. They get all the notice, they get all the money, they get all the coke, and the work is shit. Tell me that fucking Kiss or Lordy or really any band that does stuff on stage, with the exception of like Devo and Slipknot, which I will never have anything except total respect for. You tell me that any of the shit that those bands do is worth a fuck. I mean, all Kiss has done for the last 20 years is just cash in on their image over and over again. It's not about the music. It's not about the revolution. It's not even about rock and roll. It's about making money. Right. And that's nauseating to me. What's even worse is when you get these guys like Rob Zombie, who made everything they have because of bands like Gwar and because of the underground fucking metal and punk rock scene. But to see them just being so incredibly uncreative with their stupid remakes of movies that fucking were so much better the first time around, or their thinly disguised rip-offs like Texas Chainsaw Massacre was, to all those fucking movies he made, it just makes me want to fucking puke.
Yeah, totally. Yeah,
Well, that's what makes Gwar more valuable than ever, is because we keep it real. Everybody knows that Gwar fucking keeps it real. We'll never be motivated by money. We're motivated by blood and souls and crack cocaine, and that's what keeps us real. And that, when Gwar finally does pop at that level, and then it just fucking slays that dragon, it's going to be so fucking awesome. I mean, I have no doubt that after, we've been around a couple hundred years, there'll be Gwar theme parks. It's just taken a little while for the humans to come to that conclusion themselves.
Well, do you think that Gwar can really then live on and reign for 1,000 years? And if they did, do you think that the legacy of the band's influence goes beyond music?
Oh, certainly. I mean, we're not so stupid as just to say, hey, we're a band. That's one thing that we do. Yeah, music is a huge part of what we're all about. In fact, it is probably the single most essential element of what Gwar is. It's the backbone of everything we do. But hanging off that backbone are a collection of claws and whips and swords and other social barbs. Everything from me being a Jedi to just, everything that Gwar pops up in nowadays. I mean, I'm getting ready to... Actually, I just got a call. I actually just did get a call from PETA. It's like people are slowly coming around to the fact that Gwar just works just about anywhere.
Right.
And, we have something as unlikely as Gwar showing up on Fox News.
Right.
And it's fucking brilliant. I've taken one appearance on there and turned it into their official interplanetary correspondent on Fox News.
Let's talk about animal rights. So that was really interesting that you brought that up. I mean, you guys definitely thematically, sort of poke fun at that in some ways, but do you and have an affection towards animals? So, the question a little bit humorous, but are you still in love with the dead dog, or have you moved on?
Totally. I mean, everyone knows that Oderus is a huge animal lover, whether they're dead or alive. In fact, humans don't seem to understand that animals are actually the superior form of life on this planet. I don't see any human beings flying around. I don't see any human beings that can smell a pizza from 8 miles. I don't see any human beings that can swim underwater for like 100 years and dream telepathic thoughts that astrally project across the universe and create an idyllic kingdom in another world like blue whales do. Right. I mean, animals do shit that you guys will never even fucking be able to dream of. And that's why I'm kind of backing this idea that animals get promoted and the humans are thrown out into the streets. I think it's a complete injustice that animals are made to sleep outside, having to make little nests out of sticks and pieces of garbage. And these humans that got these big fancy schmancy apartments, I think we should have to flip everything around, or at least let bears live with children.
Well, I know you have a thing for babies. Are you happy to see that now that you guys been around playing in the music scene for 25 years, that there are parents that have grown up on Gwar that are now bringing their teenagers to shows? Is there a nobler sacrifice?
Oh, I think that's one of the deepestly stirring erections I get consistently. It's when I'm standing up on stage and I can see Junior, and then there's Dad has brought Junior, and then even worse, there's Grandma in the wheelchair, in the slam pit covered in blood. Yeah. And then after the show, if they've survived, you've got 3 generations of one family hanging around by the tour bus or the bat-shaped helicopter, however you want to delude yourself into how Gwar gets around, sucking our dicks and just doing whatever they can to please us. And, it'll go beyond that. And beyond that, and beyond that. And, Gwar, back when a lot of people were getting born or whatever, when rock and roll was young, it was going from generation to generation. The idea that you would listen to the same music that your parents listened to was, so fucking uncool. And it just was not going to happen.
Right.
But now that metal has been so dominant for so many years, you've got the whole family chiming in. And, and of course with Gwar, it goes beyond the music as well. Just about anybody can appreciate, our girth, our great, we're sexy. What can I say? Grandma loves that.
Absolutely. Let's close by talking about when you're going back on tour, the Gwarbecue, and the future of Gwar. Do you think that when it's all said and done, will there be anything left of planet Earth, and will Gwar be instrumental in its destruction, or will the human race basically annihilate ourselves?
Well, yeah, you're not going to do anything without our permission.
Yeah.
And so you will try to destroy yourselves, but the thing that always saves the human race is that more than eating, more than taking drugs, more than taking shits, the humans love to fuck. And as fast as we kill you, the birth rate is actually always slightly eclipsing the amount of people that we kill every day. So even with AIDS, and various other diseases have been introduced, the human race is going to survive. And that means we're going to grow up together and continue to mutate with each other. And what I'm kind of looking to happen here, as I spray more and more of my syphilitic dick pus onto these people, kind of more of a Gwar-human hybrid is going to be what's happening over the next few years. And especially on this tour, The Bloody Pit of Horror, the new album, The Bloody Tour of Horror, the tour, with the Bloody Pit that we will put people into and turn into some strange kind of Gwar, zombie, human hybrid. If we start actually breeding with the humans again, I really don't know what can happen. There'll probably be a lot more bands around like Gwar, though.
Yeah. So when are you guys going back on tour? Is it next month?
We leave in less than a month. We are starting our huge fucking bloody tour of horror on October 2nd in Baltimore, Maryland, and we will be ravaging the world, shooting out across we'll be going all over the U.S. and Canada, then we're going to shoot out across the Pacific to Australia and New Zealand, if we don't get lost, and that back to the United States, and it's going to go all the way until January, then off to Europe, and then God knows what the fuck after that. It's going to be a relentless fucking tour schedule, which we shall just grab the earth like the bloody hunk of fruit that it truly is and squeeze it for everything it's worth and just suck that shit right out of the broken world.
Awesome. We're looking forward to seeing you guys when you come to our city in a few months, I think.
What city is that?
Los Angeles. So.
A wonderful place, and so many people that I despise live there, and you won't find them at the Gwar show. Maybe we can trick it into coming this time. If Rob Zombie can stop doing coke for like 5 seconds, maybe he can come down and get my fucking dick up his ass. Rob, it's an open invitation.
Sweet. Well, thanks again for taking our call. And before you leave, can you just give us your best Oderus you've been killed by Gwar?
Hey! This is Oderus Urungus, and you've been killed by Gwar.
Sweet. Thanks so much.
Awesome, bro.